A part of playing Dominion is the setup. It's, not like, or I'm sorry, Thunderstone is the setup. Dominion has the same kind of situation. I don't think I really went into it too much there, but here, there's so many different little parts to it. So I've got the monster, and I'm going to flip cards over. And like I said, I pulled 3. If chosen, use the special disease deck. Okay, well, I always use that anyway, so that's not a big deal. So we got 3 different monsters, and now I hunt down the types, and I kind of keep these alphabetized. Let's see if Evil Druid. Okay, so this is this set, and as you can see, there's a series of different types of critters in here, one which matches this picture. And we're going to hunt down all of these, and then I'll come back after I've done that. Well, I'll come back after I've done that, I guess. I don't know. I'll show you the setup once it's done, but we can see what we've got. Now, if you're familiar with the game, or if you want to look at the different critters to see how they work, you might want to look these guys up. That can help you decide what you're going to do. I prefer to play where the monsters are kind of a surprise. I have a vague idea of what we're facing, but if it doesn't show up, I don't really know what their abilities are. So it's not clear to me, hey, do I need to fight diseases? Obviously, this thing is going to be big on diseases. But we didn't get any of the special setup cards, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle the 3 monster decks together once I find them. I'm going to take a random Thunderstone, that gets shuffled too, and that goes in the bottom 10 cards of the 3 monsters, and we'll start that way. It came with all the cards sleeved, or almost all of them. Like I said, I bought it used. I can't stand the damn card condoms, so one of the things I had to do was remove sleeves from most of the cards, but every now and then I come across a monster or a creature or whatever, a card that I haven't faced before, and I have to pull these off. Pain in the ass, but so now I had this whole box full of sleeves I don't know what to do with. Bought some magic cards, they came sleeved. I'll be using them probably to protect, I'm going to be running Empires of the Middle Ages over at Consim Expo, kind of as a drop-in game, and I'll be probably sleeving everything for that. Just, I don't know. I hate sleeves, so I don't know if I even should. But I just kind of don't want to risk getting the cards damaged, I guess. I don't know. One of the decks that came up, the Horde, is actually a really huge deck, which is kind of fitting. This has some special rules to go with it. And I don't remember quite what they are. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to look these suckers up, because I think these get shuffled into the deck, and then these get stacked, and they get bigger and bigger as they go. That's what I seem to remember. The monster deck's been stacked. We reveal the top 3 monsters. There's no guardian space in this one. We get an assassin. He cannot be defeated unless 5 or more heroes are present. Wow, that's going to be hard to kill. He produces 3 gold if he's in your hand. He's worth a lot. 3 experience, 8 victory points. There's only an 8 to kill, but you need hordes of heroes. And he gives you this attack +2. That's if he's in your hand, he gives you that bonus once you kill him. That's pretty potent. A cutthroat cannot be defeated unless 4 more heroes are present. And he gives you a card draw. Again, good values. I think we're seeing a different kind of deck is going to be played than I'm usually used to. Normally, I'm used to, you try to get a few good heroes and count on them to do a good deal of damage. But here, things like militia, which are essentially free, are becoming more interesting as an option to try to wipe these guys out. And then we have a horde, and this is just going to get replaced with the weakest of the horde cards. Now each one is worth victory points equal to the number of horde in your party deck, i.e. the ones that you collect. So if you aim for killing hordes, they're worth more. You don't know how many there are going to be. There's 9 or 10. There's 10 in the deck, but they're sorted in order. And this guy is the easiest to kill with only a 3 strength. So getting a jump on them might seem like a good idea, but if not many of them come out, if the Thunderstone is up above most of them, and he could be, there could be 9 horde under the Thunderstone. There's 11 cards total in the bottom of the deck, one of which is the Thunderstone. By the way, I'm just using the Thunderstone that I had here. If you're not playing any kind of campaign, it doesn't really make much difference to put special Thunderstones into play. They basically are just carryover effects. So those are our starting monsters for the game, and now I'm going to deal out the heroes and the villagers. And those, again, it's just a randomizing from these, much like in Dominion as one of the options, and that's all I'm using it for. And then we'll take a look at what the tableau looks like and what we have available. Here's the available tableau, and I'm going to deal out 4 players in a moment. But before I go into looking at the tableau, and I think that's important to examine what we've got, and it's very weird. I've never seen anything quite like this, especially with the heroes. 3 new heroes and a bunch of new stuff to me, a whole pile of condoms I had to throw in my box. I guess I missed explaining a rule, one that I almost never use, one that I think I've forgotten, which is instead of going to the villager dungeon, you can pass. You can do a rest turn. A rest turn just means you you discard your hand, but on top of that, you can destroy 1 card from your hand. If your deck's starting to get into an ugly situation, you can just remove a card from it permanently. And there's sort of a permanent removal zone up here where we keep track of all the garbage. In some cases, probably everything won't be destroyed. For example, the militia, it's really, really unlikely that all the militia are going to go away with the size deck that I have. Although there is a card that removes the largest stack of heroes, and that can get rid of that whole thing all at once. And if it's a monster. It's not in our game. Let's take a look at the heroes, because they have some interesting interactions, and then the special the village cards. The woodfolk, this is the only one I'm used to. Gets additional bonuses against creatures that give diseases, and if he hits higher level, he starts to be able to destroy diseases. And then at the highest level, he also gets a card draw when he destroys diseases. That's kind of cool. This one's new. Now we're getting to the more expensive guys. 6. 8 is the highest of the starting that I've seen. I think it's the highest. It's certainly the highest here. Okay, we've got the Squire. The magical attack +2. It's not bad. He doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of strength. Nobody does. Only the icy thrower has any strength. This thing's pathetic. But a 4, well, that's not terrible. I can pick up most moderate-sized weapons. I'm not going to be able to pick up the Insight Blade. That's a heavy weapon until maybe later levels. Let's see. This goes up to a 6. But it takes us a while getting there. It's also important to note how many victory points they're worth. This one's worth 3 if you get to the top level. That is some indication of how valuable they are to go for in terms of the victory points, not in terms of their effect. Usually the higher the victory points, the less effect that class has. Okay, so and I get a bonus. Any weapons that my heroes are carrying get a light +1. Well, okay, that's nice, but as I go up in level, I get up to weapons equipped to my heroes, gain a light +1 and attack +1, and you can see I'm generating some light here. I have some light here as well, which is nice. Then we get to the highest level, magic attack +1, weapons +2 light, +2 attack. In a dungeon, I gain a magic attack equal to the amount of light present. Okay, so that starts getting a little more interesting. If I have lots of heroes with weapons, I'm generating lots and lots of light, right? Yeah, and that's going to increase my combat ability. So at his highest level, he's very interesting. At the lowest level, not too interesting, but he's not that weak. He's not terrible. Let's look at this Isri Thrower. Now this is a fighter archer. And it by the way, this number here is the level of the character. And these don't have a level. They're just militia. This star indicates starting card. Over here in the same location, this is villager, this is monster. It's just how you differentiate the decks. So attack +2, destroy any revealed item or weapon to gain attack +1. A revealed item or weapon is something that was in your hand. Remember when you go in the dungeon, you flip all your cards face up? It's just a terminology there. And let's see. At the next level up, attack +3, destroy a revealed weapon to gain attack equal to the weapon's weight. Now, I no longer can destroy items. And for spoils, I could buy a weapon. Now this is really interesting because again at the next level up I start to be able to throw this around at high damage levels, so that's kind of neat. And then if I hit the highest level, and you can see he's only worth 1 victory point, attack +4, destroy a revealed weapon or a weapon from a village stack. Whoa, I can just take out of here, boom, and gain an attack equal to the weapon's weight. I can only do each of those once per turn, but that's okay. I didn't see how valuable he gets at the end. He's a 2 at the end, which isn't too bad. And now to our final one. Magic attack +2. Magic attack spells and items gain magic attack +1. Well, I think that's meant to say magic attack spells and items, as opposed to magic attack spells, which I'm not sure what they are. This is just a spell. Some spells will say magic attack as well as spell. Neither of these seem to. See, I don't know. My feeling here is it's spells that have a magic attack and all items gain a magic attack +1, which means if I have a torch, it gives me a +1. I can't parse this some other way. There might be specifics somewhere, but I guess that's how I'll read it. That can be pretty damn potent, and with an 8 cost, you can see that he has no strength, basically. He's not going to be able to carry any weapons. He can carry a dagger with its 2. He can't even carry the Magi staff here. And as we get more powerful, his strength still doesn't go up. Magic attack +2. Magic attack ×2. So I add up all the magic attack I have and I multiply it by 2. Now, note, I've gotten rid of the thing that gave me these additional magic attacks, though. So you kind of want both of them in there to get that. And then if we go to the highest level here, he's only worth 1 victory point, so he must be very powerful. Magic attack +2, magic attack ×2. And each player discards a hero or shows they have none. You may borrow one of the discarded heroes for the battle, returning it at the end. That's kind of interesting. You get to use something from someone else's hand, and in a 4-player game, which I'm going to be playing, there's going to be more options out there. Normally I play a 2-player game of this with my wife, and there are a number of cards, well, worse than that one, that really are kind of useless in a small number of players. Okay, what about the items we have? Good berries. So these are items, but they're also food and light. And as food, they're going to give each hero a +3 strength. That's a little better than iron rations. It's a little more expensive, okay. And it also provides a light source. The problem with this, though, compared to the iron rations, is the value. These are only worth 1 gold. The iron rations are worth 2. And that's a big deal. You want your deck to have a lot of gold in it. Because when you go to the village, then you have lots of money to buy expensive things. Especially the important expensive things are the higher level heroes. You can't count on getting everything just by experience. That means you'd have to discard heroes. So being able to spend big piles of cash on a higher level hero is usually one of the ways to get a real advantage in this game. Next one, Scroll of Chaos. Now this is a magic item. It clearly gives the bonus to him. I'm not sure about all other items. I don't know how to read that. Discard 1 card. Each other player discards a card. You take one of those discarded cards into your hand, whoever's it was. You shuffle the rest of the deck and deal them out to other players. Then you draw a card. Neat. That's really neat. You get a selection from everybody's hand. You get to keep the card permanently if it's just a good card. You might want to do that even if it doesn't really help you at the current moment. You can only use this in the dungeon, though. And that's kind of the negative to it, because you won't be going to the dungeon all the time, and well, it has some gold value, so it's not terrible. The Trainer, you can destroy a militia to get 2 XP. Hey, militia are kind of things that you might want to pass and do a rest turn to destroy anyway. And in the village, you can destroy this particular card to get 2 gold. Okay, it doesn't have a gold value, so if you need the extra cash, it kind of works as that, and it doesn't terribly clutter up your deck. The Quartermaster, this one's interesting. Draw 3 cards. Discard any that match cards already in your hand. Drawing lots of cards is great. Not getting all the draws would kind of suck. And in the village, discard any number of heroes, but you get a card for each hero discarded. This is huge, because when you go to the village, you can play your heroes, upgrade them, hey, then they're gone. But after that, they're kind of useless in your hand. If you didn't upgrade them, if you weren't able to upgrade them, they're sitting in your hand and they don't produce money. Thieves are the exception. They produce some money in the village. So discarding them in the village and getting new cards instead is kind of cool. And getting 3 cards in the dungeon is kind of cool. You just don't want a deck that's very singular in its approach or homogeneous in its approach. You want to have a lot of different types of cards if you're using this, which is tough to do, you know. For example, if you played a Quartermaster, you don't want to draw another one because he doesn't do you any good. He also has a low gold value. This one's whacked. Time bend. Draw 1 card, set aside an unused card until you refill your hand, and then you get that card in your hand. So this allows you, if you have you could do it in either the village or dungeon. If you have a card that doesn't really apply to your current situation, you can put it aside by playing this card. You get another card to replace this one, which is at random and might be the one you set aside. But then next turn you get an extra card, which is just kind of neat. I don't know if it's worth, you know, because it doesn't have any gold value. Spells almost never do, I think. So I'm not sure how worthwhile it is, but it's got some neat effects. The Magi Staff, I've seen this before. I haven't been impressed with it. It gives you a magical attack +1. In the dungeon, you can destroy it to move a monster from any rank to the bottom of the deck. You refill the hall and draw a card. So it's an okay card in the village, 2 gold, whatever. It's kind of like a dagger. It's got a magical attack ability, or you could try to replace a dungeon creature by destroying the Magi Staff. Doesn't seem terribly powerful to me. By the way, the Scroll of Chaos is what I call a loser's card. In a sense. If you're not doing well, this is a really cool card because you get to take somebody else's card out of their deck. You know, even if you're doing well, it's not a bad card. but in particular, if you're giving up a decent card, it's not so good. Everybody does get to choose which card they discard, so you're probably not going to get really cream items off of this. The Insight Blade. Okay, now here's the problem. This thing weighs 6. Nobody has a 6 carry capacity. A couple of the characters eventually do. This guy sure the hell doesn't. He gets to, what, 3? This guy probably gets up to 6, yeah. So they all, most of them do get up to 6 except for that one mage. But this isn't very useful at first unless you have rations or the good berries, and it's hard to count on those. I don't really like grabbing rations or the berries, glow berries. Good berries is a different one, because you're counting on a combination coming up. Oh, one of my heroes, my weapon that I can't carry with anyone, and my rations. It's fine if you need rations for your militia to carry the Magi staff that other people could carry, but you really don't want to be counting on getting the rations in combination with the Insight Blade, unless you have some kind of special abilities that allow you to guarantee you'll get them. Combos, you've only got 6 cards in your hand at any time. But this gives you an attack +3, plus an attack +1 for each card you draw while this is equipped. Now this thing gives you, say, 3 draws, right? There's other ones. This one gives you a draw. This one gives you a draw. So this could be really interesting. A +3 attack's pretty good on its own, although it is a heavy item, but if you can mix it in with some draw cards, you'll maybe be able to bonus this. And remember, if you have more than one of these and you do draws, they each get bonused by all the draws. So that's pretty cool. Okay, here's another one that's a little weird. Power Word Kill. You do this when you go in the dungeon, so you don't actually have to attack something when you do this. You defeat a monster, which means you can fight another monster afterwards. That's basically how I'm interpreting it. With victory point less than or equal to 2 plus the level of your highest revealed wizard or cleric. And then you refill the hall. So defeat is different than just putting him at the bottom of the deck. Defeat means he goes in your discard pile and you get points for him. You get your experience for him. And then you can go rack up another kill. So this is a pretty nice spell. The level, well, that's sitting here. So at an initial level, you'd be looking at being able to kill a monster with victory point of 3 or less. Well, right here we have 8, 5, and I guess this, since he has no assigned victory points, I don't know what to call him in this case. I might have to look up Horde to see if they have any definition for victory points just to interact with this card, because he doesn't have a fixed victory point value. It might be his kill value. I seem to remember there was a discussion about a rule about how he's handled there. Fortunately, you have to page through all these different books to find the proper one if you have a bunch of expansions like I do. I'm sure there's a compendium online, or maybe some some single piece that you could print out and have for all the cards. But anyway, in the Horde's case, anything that affects the victory point value or is affected by the victory point value, they're just considered not to have one, so you can't apply it. So the Power Word Kill would not work against a Horde creature no matter what. Okay, so here we are ready to start. I've dealt out the hands. Now usually in this, like in Dominion, you want to buy things fairly early on. You don't want to try to sneak into the dungeon. First of all, you're probably not going to be strong enough. And we'll see our first character here. Got different images from the different sets. There's also different backs to the cards. So he's going to think about his hand. First of all, he's got 4 militia, which means he couldn't attack this. He could attack this, but he probably doesn't have the strength. He only has 5 strength and 1 light. So this is a really crappy start, because he can't go in the dungeon. He could discard a militia, kill a militia off, but instead it's better to probably spend the $3 on something. What does he want to spend on? I don't really want to pull more militia at this point, so I kind of have these 2 options. This is neat because it's both a light and a food. On the other hand, I don't start off with enough daggers for all my militia. Well, that's not very good. That's only one. Is there a weapon I might want? Not terribly. Yeah, 3 is not a good number in this deck. Alright, I'm gonna buy myself a dagger. I'm not thrilled with it. And then I get 6 new cards. And, you know, like with Dominion, your starting deck is very tiny. It's 2 hands. You know, that gives you kind of a randomization. You can see what you got. Our second player here also seems to have a bunch of militia. Only 4 strength points, a couple iron rations. That's a little bit more money, so we'll definitely go buying. We have $4. This could get me some experience. Not terribly useful right now. This is sweet at the beginning. Man, no, maybe not. Not a whole hell of a lot going on here either. One of the things I'm looking at is, well, how much money can I get in my hand? And sort of, you know, this only produces $1. I'm going to use this because it'll allow me... yeah, it sucks in the dungeon early on. Alright, I'm going to pull this. At least it gives me a one-time shot at 2 gold. There's not a lot of cash out here. That's one of the problems. There's nothing that I can really turn in. You know, the first thing that's worth anything is the Nightblade. It's really the only thing that's worth more than 2. Starting cards are worth 2. So that's kind of crappy to begin with. 1, 2, 3. Now this guy's only a 3, but he's deep in the dark depths, so he comes out to a 9 if I don't have light, and it takes a lot of light. That's 4. I got $4 though. What do I want to spend $4 on? 4 isn't enough to get me a dude. Well, I'm gonna grab a Magi staff. I'm not far from being able to use it. With some food I can use it, and it has as good a cash payout as anything else. And here's the thing, the daggers are only worth 1 food or 1 gold, so I would want to you know, some other piece of equipment to get my you know, if I want to richen my deck at all, I want another piece of equipment, either iron rations or a torch of all things, which are both worth 2. The scroll might be cool, but it might not. It looks pretty iffy. This guy, he has less militia, 3, 4, and a light. He's not going to be able to kill anything. He's got $5 though, and he's the first guy who's been able to turn $5 in. And I got to tell you this, although I want to get money, I also want better heroes, and this is the only one that's worth $5. I'm going to take this into my hand instead. At the very least, if I kill something, it's easier to raise. So here's the thing, militia have an experience cost of 3, so you can raise a militia up to any level 1 hero. But that's more expensive than raising a level 1 hero and a level 2. So it's generally not a great idea unless you're just overflowing with experience. And we're still in that, you know, all I have is my initial deck here. I got lots of money though, $7. That's enough to get this awesome weapon, which I don't particularly want yet. I'm more likely to grab this, or do I want more light? I'm going to grab this because it is 7 hero. Now, I should be busy shuffling my deck. It's not as important as it is in, say, Dominion, or maybe even Ascension. because there's a lot less that mucks with the other people's decks in this. This is really less of a there's a less of a competitive game. You have less cards that you can really target other people with. There are a few, but there's a great deal of competition involving grabbing the heroes. So it's not entirely, and perhaps some items in 4 players. And 2, usually the village cards aren't that impressive, but getting heroes is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 lights. So I got 4 kill power. That's not enough to do me anything. $6. $6 could probably buy me something. Again, I'd rather grab some hero. This guy has some light ability. He also gives additional light for weapons. That sounds pretty cool. I want to get multiple heroes in play because these things require a whole bunch of heroes. So I can't overload my deck with equipment and such not. But I've got to do better than militia is the problem. So for example, here I've only got a 4 attack and nothing to go in. But I've got 2, 4, 5, $6, which again, I'll go for, I think, the best here because I don't see anything that's throwing diseases out. So this is a little bit, this is a strong creature. He's got an attack too. So does this one. And that's kind of appealing. Here. So I've only got a 4 attack and I've got $5. Again, do I want to get another one of these for $5 or is there something else I'd like? I now have someone who can wield this weapon without a problem. I'm going to buy another one of him for the same reasons I've been talking about, that having a lot of heroes in this particular scenario setup doesn't look like a bad choice. Usually I don't like them because they don't come with cash on them, except for the thieves, and they still don't generally come with much, which means I'm going to have less buying power the more heroes I grab. But if I can kill a monster, the monsters add significant cash to them. Now they're kind of a waste when you go into the dungeon, but they tend to be good cash cards, which lets you kind of replenish and deepen your hand. I've got to reshuffle all these decks, so we're going to step away for a little bit. So now 3rd time around, let's see what we got in our hand here. And I know this isn't the most exciting kind of thing to watch. I can't think of another way to show this. All kinds of weapons that don't really help. My money is only going to be 3, 4, 5, which isn't terrible. But let's see if we can kill something. Well, we're not going to be able to attack either of these, or at least defeat them. We might be able to kill this, but it's awfully dark in there. 2, 3, 4, 5, and I could destroy items to get myself up to 6, 7, but this is a 9. So I think I'm going to have to buy. Given the situation with all the heroes being needed for these, I'm going to buy what I can afford in terms of a hero. Of course, again, that weakens me for next time in terms of the village. So, you know, maybe I ought to be thinking about something like this that allows me some flexibility when I'm in the village. This is a tough set of monsters and deck, I think. Okay, so here I could destroy militia to get experience. I could destroy this card to get gold. It only works in the village. I'm definitely not able to go anywhere else. So let's go to the village. And I can destroy militia and then destroy the card. Let's see if the card would help me to be destroyed. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could get myself up to 5, 6 if I destroy the card, which would let me buy one of these. Okay, I'm going to destroy 2 militia. No, I can only do it once. I'm going to destroy one militia. Now he goes over in the dead pile, and that gets me 2 experience. And then I'm going to destroy this card and get myself 2 gold, which I don't need a marker for. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll buy myself this wizard to replace my militia, which is pretty cool actually, because I haven't made my deck heavier with heroes. What I can't do is I can't then take these experience and use them to upgrade him. The upgrades happen early in the turn rather than at any point during your trip to the village, which is important. Let's go over here. And that worked out pretty well, actually. Okay, so I'm a 4 strength with a light. There's nothing I'm going to be able to kill. I got $5. I do not like where I am right now, but I think I'm going to take one of these. And what's interesting is once these all run out, the next level is available. So since these have been very cheap, let's see, if someone could get to $8, they could buy this higher level guy. You can upgrade before that. Now that makes buying the last one of these especially fairly difficult to make as a choice, especially in the 2-player game where you're handing it to your opponent and that's it. Here, I don't know, how big a deal is it to hand an advantage to the person who goes after you? It's like Scrabble. If you can score enough, it's worth doing, right? So here, 3, 4. You can see the food's not very helpful unless I have weapons with me that I can't carry. So I've got 4 combat and a light. Not good enough to do anything. 5 money. Do I want to go with this? Or do I want to increase my money and my combat value? This isn't that potent. That's the problem. I could go for a lower valued card, but I'll buy another one of these. Although I may be overloading. What's hard to tell, and I've had this problem with trying to solo all of these deck builders, is I can't remember sort of the composition of my deck. Sometimes I'll cheat and I'll look through my discards or even my deck just to help make the solo experience a little closer to the real experience. This is a game about remembering what you're trying to do. Again, not going anywhere here. $6. There's no $6 item. Quite often there's an item at that level, but there is a $6 hero, and I'm gonna pick it up. I'm not absolutely thrilled about it, but just because I feel like everybody's kind of overdoing their heroes, and we're gonna have too many cards here. There are a few cards that affect other people's hands and decks, but like usual, I'm going to just kind of ignore that. Okay. So I have no weapons with me. This time I have 2, 3, 4, and 3 light. Make sure this is a 1. I can't really see this. I don't know if this is a light. I think there's no light with this. He just gets his, that's marking that his special ability generates light. So yeah, 2, 3, 4 hits and 2 light. Well, that's still not good enough to do anything. $6. Another one of him. I got 2 of him already. Okay, so we go to the village. We're going to do this. We've got 2 XP. So he gets destroyed. And we get one of these. And you can see he's gotten better. And now, I've got that $6, and what I notice is this guy, weapons equipped to your heroes gain light +1/+1 attack, but later levels it gets even better. So I'm going to pick up another one of him. I know I'm kind of overloading on them, but $6 is tough to get to, and nobody can carry this shit yet. I have some reshuffles coming up. Okay, look at all this crap. Okay, well, he could carry the dagger, he could carry the staff. And it's not that it's necessarily better to go in here, but these are some high-valued monsters. If I can kill one of them, it's worth it. They're good. But there are some really crappy monsters that it's probably almost never worth killing. It's just a matter of somebody's got to do it. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'd have 3 light. That's pretty good. I could go kill this thing. I can't do any better than that. Cash-wise, I'm getting $2, $4, $6, $7, which is pretty hefty too. That could get me one of these, which I kind of like. This is only going to give me 1 experience to kill. So this is a hard choice. Do I go into the dungeon, kill something? These aren't worth terribly much at this point, but if I end up getting a lot of these, if I end up being, say, the guy who kind of ignores hordes and hordes of heroes as my bonus, it might be for the best. On the other hand, if I turn around, I can come in and buy a good character with the cash that I have. Either one seems plausible. I'm going to buy the character just because I'm not really impressed with killing this. And, well, my combat ability I think might have been high enough that I could have gotten this too. Except I didn't have 4 heroes. Okay. And once more around, and then we'll do our reshuffle. Pause. Militia. Nothing seems to give diseases, which makes them very weak. 3, 4, 5. Unfortunately, no light and not enough strength to kill any of these. Worse, I have almost no money. I have $2. What's $2? Well, only initial stuff is $2 or less. That's an iron rations if I want it, or I could grab a militia. That's not good. I could pass and throw something out. Or I could attack a monster and bury it. I think I've got enough militia in this game. I'm going to pitch one. Because I've been buying heroes at a heavy rate. And now we'll do the reshuffle again. Let's see where we're at with this first guy. He's got... Unfortunately, he's got this weapon, but he's only got 1. 7 plus a light. I don't have much money though. So I think finally I can't hit this, I can't hit this. This guy is too big to begin with. This guy is at, I'm able to reduce the light penalty by 1, so he's also at 8. But I think I can get all the way down here. That'll be -4, 7. I can kill this. You know, it's not optimal, but it gets me an experience point. There wasn't anything else positive I could do. I could have destroyed a militia, but you know, I mean, I can kill something. That doesn't mean it's always the best idea to do something. And we have another horde card coming. And the neat thing about the hordes is they do actually come out in order. That's basically, most of the other monsters come out as a mishmash where they can be either strong or weak. a lot of stuff, not a lot of fighters. I'm not going to get much traction with this, except as money. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I could buy the Super Wizard here. All items give a magic attack +1. That's pretty cool. I'm going to buy that. That's the way I'm reading that. It may not be the intention. It may only be magic items like this. But now there aren't that many items in the game either. So we've got 1, 2, and then the 2 initial things. We don't have a lot of stuff that's listed as items. So it's not like it's everything that sounds like an item. Weapons are not items, for example. Okay, so I've got 4 heroes, 5, 6. And I can conceivably use this. I don't have any light though, which means I'm not going to be able to get any of these. And that's problematic. Now, if I went in the dungeon, I could destroy this to move a monster out of place. And, you know, that would get me closer to killing this, but it's not going to happen. So all I got is $3. I'm going to grab this. It's both food. Food isn't that valuable. But it's a light, which is the same as the torch, and it may be useful in the long run. In fact, I couldn't even carry the Magi staff, which means I can't use any of its abilities because all I had was militia with me. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got a light with me. Still not enough to get me anywhere really, which means we go to a 4 cost. Some of these are nice. Destroy militia for victory points. I've got too much of the same stuff. So I'm going to pick this up. It worked well for one person. It's kind of a one-use card because you probably get the victory points and you get some gold. Over to here, the only person who's killed anything. Quite often you go a while without killing things, but this is fairly heavy. Okay, I've got 2, 3. I'm not going to be able to kill anything. I don't have enough experience to go up a level with anything. So 2, 4, 6, $7. I'm going to buy one of these. We don't have enough strength for anybody to carry this. Hopefully I'm not overloading. Okay, so we're at 4 there. And I've tended to put a die to mark where the reshuffle kind of happens. And here you can see a little different from some of the other games, Dominion in particular, where you can buy a bunch of cards at once depending on what you have. Here it's less likely for that to happen, so everybody kind of stays around the same place in the deck. They get a card added each turn, for the most part. Well, we got a potent pile here. Not a lot of money. So let's see if we can fight. 3. Okay, 3, 6, 7, 8. And the weapon gets 2 light and an extra attack. So that puts me to like 9, 10, right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, just 1 extra attack. And 2 light. So 9 and 2 light lets me go for anything I like, except I got to worry about the number of heroes. I've got 5 heroes here, so I can kill this big thing. I like this. This gives me a +2 on attack. It's 3 gold. It gives me 3 experience points, and it's worth 8 victory points. This is a sweet card. And in general, when you go to the dungeon, that's about all that happens. Is you kill something. Now things get closer. And we got another horde. You can see they just keep getting worse and worse. I don't know who has the horde. Yeah, I do. He has one. So he has more interest in them than anyone else does. And he does not have as many cards. Things do get out of sync. You know, there's some cards that like let you draw new cards and stuff. There's just less of it than there is in Dominion. Alright, here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can upgrade, if I wanted to say destroy this, to 5. Unfortunately, this is a 6, and I need the light to be able to attack it. This would be a 4, 5, 6 with the light. So it looks to me like I still can't kill anything. I don't have any experience. So I got $4. What does $4 do me? Well, I'm going to grab this because short term I think it's the better deal. This gets neat later. The weapon, not so impressive. You know, this is really just a dagger, except that it's got a 2 gold value, which makes it worth more than a dagger. Let's see our final guy. Costs more, but is worth more. Okay, we got a couple of heroes here, and some crap. The heroes, unfortunately, there's no disease monsters, I think, at all in this deck. Which means I got $6. $6, I could grab one of these. I think that's the best I can do. Getting too many heroes, I think. And that's bothersome. So I may want to, you know, start trimming some of those those militia out of there. Alright, well, we got to do a lot of reshuffling. Okay, let's see. I'm back at the start, and I don't know who's got water when I'm doing anymore. These games are hard to keep in mind in any sense of the word. You know, it's not a problem when you're playing it opposed or anything. So, I got 2 of these. I can throw items or weapons at the enemy for a +1. Not much advantage to this. I can just carry my dagger if I want it. So let's see what my bonus would be. 2, 4, 5, 6. I could do up to about an 8, but I have no light. That would allow me to hit this thing, but I don't have enough heroes. Down here, I could kill that. It's not terribly good. How much money do I have in hand? I only have $5 in hand. That doesn't get me a whole hell of a lot. I don't have enough to experience up. So I'm going to kill this sucker. Get me a horde. I think I might be the guy who has the other horde. Damned if I can tell. And oh, I got to throw some things though, because I had to get that 8. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got to throw 2 iron rations away. And that actually reduces my deck, but it also takes some cash out of my deck, which isn't good. Now, I want to move these forward before I switch turns or anything, because some critters are have an effect when they come into play. I don't think anything in this particular layout is of that nature. Alright, over here. Now I have some experience, which means I may want to upgrade. Wow, these guys... Oh no, this is the level 2. Okay. So if I had enough money, I could go up to level 2. Instead, I've got a lot of varices. They produce a lot of light. That's kind of nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I've got $7, which is pretty decent. I could get one of these or an Insight Blade, which I can't carry with these guys. Let's see. 2, 4, 6. I don't have any weapons, so I'm not going to be too impressive. I get to add here 8, and I get a little bit of light. 8 would get me in here. I don't have enough heroes, though. The assassin is not a hero. He's a monster. I could go for hordes. Again, they're not terribly valuable. What's my payout, though? 5, 6, 7. 7's pretty good. I'm going to grab one of these guys. See, I like weapons. I could... But there aren't a lot of weapons available. I'll just grab a hero. Because my short spot was a hero. Oh, here's the other thing. Hold on. I can turn my enhancer. I'm going to upgrade him before I actually buy the other guy. I'm going to upgrade the enhancer up to this, which is worth victory points and is a stronger overall creature across the board. I could have upgraded one of these guys to an enhancer. That might have been a better move. But when I've got the 3 experience, you know, I might as well spend it because 1 experience doesn't do me much, except saving up towards some other future. Alright, what do we got here? And we're not really able to play with a lot of, you know, cleverness. That's the problem with playing the solo. Weapons equipped to heroes gain light. So I've got 2, 3, 4, and a couple of light. That's crap. I've got $7 though. $7 is enough for one of these. And I might as well. Why am I buying just the best things? The most expensive things? I don't know. Because it's hard for me to keep in mind you know, what the decks are like. That's really the problem. So I go for just the opportunistic choice. I don't really have that secondary call of, hey, you sure you want this? Okay, this guy's good in the village. And it doesn't look to me like I have a whole hell of a lot of firepower. So, I can destroy a militia for 2 victory points, or 2 XP. I'll do that. And then I can destroy this for 2 gold. Do I want that? 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I do. What am I going to buy with 6? Well, this is the best I think I can get. The other option would be 4. You could buy me another one of these. I'm going to destroy the trainer and get myself one of these. I like that exchange. Get rid of a militia, get a decent person, get some experience. It all works out kind of nicely in my book. And then that card's gone from my hand. It's not causing any harm. It's kind of a nice jumpstart card. I really do like what it does here. Okay, I got a squire. These. A couple militia. A whole bunch of militia. I got a whole bunch of heroes. I can probably take out the cutthroat. Yeah? 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to have any weapons though. 4, 5, 6. I can get there. I have enough light. I can fight it. I do so. That gets me 2 experience. Now, I could have gone to town and upgraded someone, but this is a cool thing to kill. It's worth 5 victory points, and it has a dungeon ability and some cash. That's a nice combination, and I can't really turn that down. With the amount of heroes I have in the decks, there's a pretty good chance that I'll be able to upgrade 2 guys at once with that level, with 4 points there. These things move forward. We draw another. It's an Arachnia. Each player gains a disease. The Arachnia gains 2 health for each disease that's been revealed, i.e. out of your hand. and in battle, it destroys a cleric. Now this is a horrible combination, because this is my anti-disease thing, but it's going to get whacked by that. Of course, this gives a huge advantage against that monster, and it might be worth killing off a low-level one of them in order to get rid of it. That's the only cleric I have out here. The rest are wizards, fighter, archer. So that's not going to be an issue there. Okay, lots of weapons, magic, attack spells, and items. I don't have any of those things, so I'm not going to get bonus by that. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attack and no light. Very little money. 7 attack with no light is enough to kill this horde. You know, $2, I can go to town and I can buy myself some iron rations. That's really about it. Even the glow berries cost more than that. So I'm going to go into the dungeon and I'm going to kill this. It gets me an experience. It doesn't waste a turn. I could, of course, you know, bury a card or something instead. And this is where the reshuffle is going to start. Got to move these up. Got a thug, takes 4 more heroes. You know, those guys really make it tough for the kind of decks that I'm used to, which don't have a whole bunch of heroes coming up at once. Here you got to either draw lots of cards or have a really high proportion of heroes in your deck. And we got somebody who's got that 4 or more right now. 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. I can give this weapon. Somebody better carry it. Okay. 6, and I've got 1 light. Alternatively, I got like $4 to spend. 6 and 1 light. That'll get me the horde. Is that worthwhile, or is spending 4 gold? I have no experience, so I'm not upgrading anyone. Worthwhile. Well, I'd rather get some experience here, so I'm going to attack this. The magic item, I can destroy it to move a monster from any rank to the bottom of the deck. Yeah, I might want to bury her, because she's worth a lot of points. But I'd have to destroy this, and that's a dungeon effect. I wouldn't have it to fight with, so I need this. I need to make the attack while I have it, which means it's too late. And then these move forward. Breach. Everybody gets a disease, and it has a dungeon power to destroy the diseases if you get it later. I have no special abilities after I've gone to the dungeon. And all these cards are gone. It's funny, we're going to have one person reshuffle and then everybody else is going to reshuffle next turn. Eh? Oh, that's okay, I'm running out of power. Okay, what do we got? We got a decent amount of money, $6. The $6 space is gone. These are still there. I got enough experience, I could upgrade one of these herbalists, which is a little bit more powerful. That might be interesting. Let's see what my possible attacks are though. +1, +2, +3, and a couple of light. Plus, is that it? +1, +2, +3? I can't kill anything except maybe this. +3, +6, +9. I've got a good attack against this. I think I'm willing to take this attack rather than do the upgrades right now, because I'm going to get more experience. She's worth a couple experience. She's a good monster with a 6 treasure, and it's one of the few things that I can beat with this crappy hand. So I would gain a disease, which this is the first time I've gotten one. This doesn't prevent me from getting a disease. It's a minor one. If this gets revealed in the dungeon, it's a -1 to my attack. In the village, it's no big deal, but it's a card wasting my hand, which means I probably want something that gets rid of diseases. I've got to kill her, because it gets destroyed. This didn't get any bonus for diseases revealed. It's only ones that I revealed in my hand. And I get her. And that's kind of cool. And now, let's see if I got enough cards for her. Probably not. Okay, so I get a couple more there too. And we'll do a... Hey, it looks like it's time to upload the video anyway.